So we must push one common intention. It's for a better life in the region. For we women and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man. CARICOM is wasting time. The whole Caribbean gone blind. If we don't know from where we come in, then we can't plan where we go in. That's why some want to be communists, brother, some want to be socialists, and one set a religion to add to the foolishness. Look, a man who don't know his history can't form no unity. How could a man who don't know his roots form his own ideology? Like one race from the same place that make the same trip on the same ship. So we must push one common intention. It's for a better life in the region. For we women and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man. The Federation done dead, and Carifta going to bed. But the cult of the Rastafarian spreading through the Caribbean. It have Rastas now in Grenada, it have Rastas now in St. Lucia. But to run Carifta, yes, you getting pressure. If the Rastafari movement spreading and Carifta dying slow, then it's something them Rastas on that them politicians don't know. That there's one race from the same place that make the same trip on the same ship. So they pushing one common intention. It's for a better life in the region. For the woman and their children.
Yes indeed, of course. A pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, our friends in Tobago and wherever you are streaming in the World Wide Web. Yes, we started, of course, on time tonight. And of course, it may be because of something special. Maya will not be joining us tonight, however, and I suspect either he will be late or may not be joining us. But we have a special night tonight, in that we have to examine, of course, critically the situation in the Caribbean, and in particular the English-speaking Caribbean, which comprise, of course, the English-speaking Caribbean, former colonies or domains of the British Empire that has formed itself together in a sub-regional group called CARICOM, and is facing one of the major challenges that I think the century could conjure up. We are in the 21st century, but certainly I don't think we'll get another challenge like this anytime soon, and I'm talking about centuries apart. But the fact is that it is here, and it has created, of course, some rift, some artificial, some superficial, some superfluous, some out of total and absolute ignorance, and of course, I think the most dangerous of them all, frankly, is that of ideological positioning. Ideological positioning. And of course, I am a person that I prefer pragmatism over any ideological or any other consideration that one may have to address a particular situation or to engage in a discourse or a disposition that is as crucial as the survival of the various islands that comprise the archipelago called the Caribbean, where the English-speaking aspect of it, because we have French-speaking, we have Dutch-speaking as well. And we have, of course, Spanish-speaking as well. So that part of the Caribbean, formerly the part of the British Empire, and therefore, when we talk about colonial powers, well then, of course, we will be and have to, of course, mention the British Empire once was. But of course, we have evolved, and we have, of course, grown, and we have, of course, reached the stage, by and large, where there are very few dependencies on the Britain. I think St. Kitts Nevis may well have some link there, and I think the British Virgin Islands will have some dependency arrangement with the British Crown, if you want to call it that. But by and large, we are independent from Jamaica, and more than that, we are now republicans or Republican states, by and large. Barbados just got their Republican status, which means that every vestige, every symbol, every connection with the former colonial master, if you want to call it that, has been divested as we move inexorably to manage our own affairs in our own way, of course within certain parameters. I'm using those terms very meticulously and very, what I consider to be purposely, within certain parameters. Yes. You see, when we look at our domestic situation, we always speak, whether it's law, and are talking about legislation here, as opposed to law of physics, as opposed to law of mathematics, for example, and the various aspects of mathematics, whether it's geometry, algebra, arithmetic, etc. There are certain rules called law, and there are always exceptions in every one of them. And I think that it is the exception that I would love to focus on tonight as well. Yes, indeed. So Joshua is here. I just took off the mic to advise him on something, admonish him on something. Not for your hearing, of course. But the fact of the matter is that there are exceptions. Why am I using that term? Because tonight we are going to critically examine the criticisms leveled at Kamala Persad-Bissessar and Trinidad and Tobago's government, and compare it, of course, with the positioning of other Caribbean countries that are at variance with the position of Trinidad and Tobago, and recognizing that Trinidad and Tobago is a crucial component in the whole structure of CARICOM, and in fact one of the founding members. One may even go as far as to say the founding father or mother, depending on your perspective, because the first major meeting was held, of course, in Chaguaramas, and in fact it was called the Chaguaramas Declaration, that laid the foundation for what is called today CARICOM. But of course we had a number of other, what I consider to be variables, other nuances, other elements by different name, CARIFTA, etc., in order to, of course, arrive today at CARICOM. We're going to look at that. And we are going to then, of course, look at the various interests that would have created what I consider to be a fissure, a dividing line of variance because people have different views about the same thing. It happens in countries, that's the point I'm making, and it happens outside of countries, and it happens, of course, in your laws, and of course, other laws that are known to man. But that being as it may, Joshua came for his 5 minutes, so we'll give him it. Even though, of course, today is Saturday, he's supposed to stay a little longer, but I want to really deal with this Caribbean situation, and because Maya is her name? Maya is her name? Maya? Yeah. Because Maya will not be here tonight, I thought I will truncate, I will cut short Joshua's presence as we deal with this very serious matter, because, of course, I am satisfied as well as many analysts that the Americans will not leave these waters until Maduro is gone. So let us not waste time. You have to be living on Mars not to realize that the armada that is assembled at the doorstep of the Venezuelan capital, Caracas, is there for drug interdiction and the drug kingpins, lords, or cartels that would, of course, be the producers and the transporters of these poisons, according to the Trump administration, towards the United States and, of course, its people. That being as may, because the argument has always been, well, if you stop the demand for the item in the United States, then, of course, there will be no market, because if there is a demand, well, of course, there are people who are going to find ways and means to satisfy that demand. And sometimes, as these days, where demand outstrip supply, then, as I think our own police commissioner has said, well, the price of marijuana has skyrocketed. But human beings are very creative and inventive. So what has happened? He says that they have to turn inland because people start to plant marijuana now to, of course, satisfy the increase the demand because of the scarcity of foreign marijuana. And so, of course, people are expected to engage in order to fill the gap, so to speak. So local marijuana will be part and parcel of the mix as the foreign ones become more and more scarce as a consequence of the strikes and the activities against the drug, what I consider to be the drug business, the drug cartels in, of course, this part of the world, but in South America. That being as a matter, let me bring on Joshua one time. A pleasant good night to you, Joshua.
Good night, everybody.
All right, yes, indeed. Any item you want to? I know last time you didn't read, and we ought to start back the whole idea of doing a paragraph or two, because I'm not satisfied that you have reached up to speed as far as making sure that your work is complete, especially writing material that you just have to regurgitate, you just have to rewrite. There is no spelling issue, there is no thinking, just to rewrite. And he always finishes late or last, right? So he needs to do that because exams are what? Time specific. In spite of the fact that you ought to know the material, but it is time specific. So you don't have a whole day or all day or hours to, of course, get the answers to the questions that may be asked. And therefore, how do you address that if the person is slow? You give them exercises that will, of course, that's a good, should I say, clue or good advice to parents and indeed teachers if they have not yet engaged to engage. I see that his teacher would normally, on purpose, and I think it's a strategy because I would have done the same. If he is slow in writing, every single thing that the slightest thing that he would have done that may not necessarily, or put another way, a teacher will overlook. She asks him to write lines, he's saying that she don't like him. Well, I say that she love him. That is why she is giving him lines to write. Because we give him as well at home. So he has it in school, he has it here, and he must ultimately, because of that practice, get accustomed. The muscles in the fingers will get accustomed. The bones will adapt over time. And next thing you know, he writing fluently. And talking here, referring, of course, to any school child that may be having that difficulty as Joshua has. That being as it may, of course, let us know what issues you want to raise tonight, if any. Joshua, yeah? Anything you want to raise tonight? If not, because you only have 5 minutes, huh? Go ahead.
5 minutes?
Yes, because I see you're leaning back and you're getting on as if, well, you have the whole program.
I waited for you to finish talk.
Go ahead, but I finished talk. It's about 2 minutes now I'm asking you.
Because some new cuts that appear and
I knew what?
new cuts that appear on my skin.
Wow.
The yellow, like how I had MPTI go last month. I think
You spoke to mommy?
no, it's just not like come back.
And what about the medicine? Parents, listen to this because we have to be very, very, very careful with these children. Where they go, who they associate with, who they rub shoulders with. They may get some infection.
The ointment supposed to be there.
So what has happened because you were recuperating well, you stopped using the ointment. Is it that?
Yeah?
Mommy stopped using it?
No, I stopped using it.
No, man, you have to continue until you make certain.
No, it was going after I come back.
All right. But then, of course, you'll have to use it again tonight. All right, tell me what we have to do tonight. Let me switch to our virtual class, yes? Let me switch to it's better now. Yes, we fix it today. So we are, just take a look at this. Yeah, we did some work on it today. So last time it was all dazzling and all of that and so on and so forth. So it's no longer the case. We can see each other very clearer now, and we can see the lips moving much more vividly as opposed to the last occasion. We still have some work to do on it, but at least there is an improvement, obviously.
I look like I put makeup on my face.
Look at makeup on your face. All right, and of course there is the blackboard, and of course we have some material. Today I was testing, so last time we had done something with respect to the budget. Let me just take off something. I've seen something. Oh. Let me see. Why is this there? Why are you there? Right, good. All right. So, yeah, let me just rub this off. Let me just take this off. And yes, and I'll take this one off as well. So, yeah, take this off as well. Yeah, well, I'll show it off a little bit, people. Don't vex me for that. Right, and of course, here we have, right. So here we have it, English grammar. Of course, those are old things. Right. Joshua, just by way of information, there are some nouns that somehow convert into an action word. Where's the action word?
Action word.
In parts of speech, of course, of the 8 parts of speech.
You mean a verb?
A verb, yes. So some nouns, because a noun is supposed to be what? A verb is an action word, that's all.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were in doubt, and but some nouns seem to somehow over time.
Wait. You're talking about nouns. You're talking about verbs. Which one are you talking about?
Listen again. I'm saying that there are some nouns that sometimes, for some strange reason, they turn into verbs. Right? All right. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. Google is what? The name of a company, right? The Google company that, of course, produces the software for computers, right? MS software. Right. And of course,
But
it manages the Google um, search engine. Yeah? Right.
and
So is it so it's a noun. That's all. But when you say go and Google it,
you have to pick up your phone and Google it.
and there's action.
Yes.
So therefore, in that sense, Google is a verb. That's all. Right. So that is what I'm talking about. That there are in some instances, nouns can be converted into verbs over time, and again is how people use it, and how eventually it becomes normal, and people simply engage. Take for instance, you may have let me see, a wharf. You know the wharf? WHORF. A wharf is a place or a constructed area for birds to moor. MOOR, to moor, to tie up, to pack up then. But you don't use, when it come into boats, you don't say the boat park, you say the boat moor. Yeah, MOOR. The boat moor. No, not MOR, you know. You know what that moor is? Where's that moor?
It's MORE.
Yeah, MOR, yes. What that is?
It's like you're having something
Yeah.
and you get more or something.
That's right. So,
It's an order.
in addition, what? More, right. But MOR, that more is when, of course, you tie up a boat or ship or whatever it is on something called a wharf or a jetty, right? Or a pier.
Once a park my boat, I'll just put the anchor and you see and just do that.
Yeah, but the term you don't say park, right? You say, in that case you say you anchor the boat.
Yeah, no,
In the
just
sea,
say
right.
park.
All right. Okay. Right. So, what should we do quickly tonight? Let us look at words that sound alike but different in spelling. Words that sound alike but different in spelling.
And the do that in school or about again,
They are called homonyms.
yeah.
Homonyms. Sound alike but different in spelling.
Okay, how about next one to that?
Yeah, there are others as synonyms.
No, not synonyms. The one that homonym.
Homonyms, and you have antonyms. Words opposite in meaning.
I don't think I need all of them.
You don't need all of that. You see that one? Because as you say, you say have other things. So homonyms. So
Homonym.
what could we look at? What about pear?
Homonym.
Yeah, a fruit, the fruit. Pear. And then you have a pair of slippers.
Homonym.
Yeah, but
No, just name something I'll answer. If it's an antonym,
no. I'm just saying it will be spelled different. So therefore you have to spell it for me. That is what I want. Right? So the pear to eat, how you spell that pear?
P-E-I-R.
Nah.
P-I-R-E.
P-E-A-R. Pear. That pear to eat, right?
So the next one is the...
Yeah. All right, come on. No. You will get it. You see, parents, of course, are what teachers have to cope with, right? Because you have to be able to let them be discerning. So that's how it is. Right, so here to eat, right. And if I talk about What's the other pair I gave you earlier?
Like a pair of shoes.
A pair of shoes, yes. How you spell that pair?
P-I-E-I.
P-I-E-R.
P-I-R.
P-A-I-R.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let me just. We have a dictionary on the system, people, but you can't see. So let's put it in. P-E-A-R. The first pair. Wait, say it.
Sweet, juicy, gringling, textured fruits available in
Right. So a fruit. P-E-A-R. Right. All right. That's all right. You see, so sweet, juicy, gritty textured fruit available in many varieties. Right. So pear. Right. Some around Christmas time, you get it with apples and so on. Right. P-E-A-R. And the other pair I told you was what? A pair of shoes?
Yeah.
And P-A-I-R, P-A-I-R. So let's see if I'm right or wrong. A set, read it. You read it now, man. So you want me to do everything? I have to spell it, I have to read it, and then when I get the meaning on the screen, I have to read it too.
If you want to
But you
type.
get me mad, man.
Yeah, but if you want to type, if you want to read it out.
Oh, sorry. All right, go ahead. Yeah.
A set of two similar things considered as a unit.
Right. Leave it just so. Take the first one. All right, go ahead. You want to break the second meaning. All right, go ahead.
I read it one for.
All right, go ahead.
Two items of the same country. Two people considered as a unit.
Yeah, let me handle. I'm afraid you.
For a poker.
Fourth one. Go ahead.
A poker hand with two cards of the same value. Yeah, I'm not gonna read that.
Yeah. Well, people, the one he didn't want to read was woman's breast, right? You see, words. Even though you may have a popular meaning for a word, right? But many English words are multonyms, meaning that they have different meaning, right? So, like in this case, pear, it refers to woman's breast. So you learn something there. But usually when you talk about P-A-I-R, you talk about two things, a pair of shoes. Now, there's another pair. Yesterday, I went on the outside of the building and I peered at a dog crossing the street.
Yellow?
Yeah, peer. Wait this?
Look.
Yes, because of the context, not so? So, anytime you're using peer, if you're talking to me, or you're writing it, you have to put it in what is called context. Otherwise, you could believe is anything, any one of the pairs, even if you know all the pairs, if you don't put it in proper context, then it means therefore you would lose the meaning of it, right? So what that pair mean? How I say it spelled?
P-E.
Huh? That's it?
No.
P-E-E-R. Yes, P-E-E-R. Yeah. Pair. Look at it. Read it quickly, man.
A surgical.
What are you talking about?
A
Boy, read the pair, boy.
one look.
S-E-A-R-C-H is what?
Surgically.
Why you come in? S-E-A-R is search, right?
Yes.
I-N-G is what?
In.
In and L-Y.
Surgingly.
That's right. Search inly. So look searchingly is to peer. So I was peering at the dog when I went outside. So P-W-R. Right? So let's go it again. So you learn 3 different words today that sound alike but spelled differently. And each one had different meanings as well. That's all? All right. So, what's the first one? To eat. That appear to eat. Where's that?
P-A-R-E.
Right there?
P-A-R-E.
you see, boy? Oh, gosh, boy. Let me write it again. The people out there, I'm sure all you remember. That's all. P-E-A-R. Right? The fruit to eat, right? Yeah. And of course, the other one, a pair of scissors. Let me hear that one.
P-A-R-E.
P what?
P-A-R-E. Wait. P-A-I-R.
That's right. P-A-I-R. What? P-A-I-R. Pair, yes. All right. Okay, so two, a set of two, right? Pair. And of course, to look searchingly.
P-E-E-R.
How you spell it?
P-E-E-R.
P-E-E-R. P-E-E-R. I'll try to get the dictionary to be on the screen as well so you could follow us when we are looking for the words, right? And that way we will be able to, you'll be able to interact and you will be able to say we wrong, right, or the case may be, because of course we want to make certain that everybody is on board. All right, before you go, so those are home. What kind of words are they? The songing alike, but spelled differently.
Homonyms.
Homonyms, right. There are words as well that spell the same, but pronounced differently. You know what I say? I said there are words that spell the same, but pronounced differently. Yeah. Let me hear. Give me. You're confused, yes or no?
Okay.
Yeah, let me hear.
I don't think you need all that.
I don't need all that gesticulation, that energy. All right, okay. Let me hear.
If you want to go on the news program and do all of that and see if you can get the
But I'm trying to help you to remember. That's why I'm emphasizing. Yeah, I have to do it because I want to make sure that it gets into. I can't open your head and put it, so I have to find ways and means. It's called mnemonics, where you do things in order to help you to remember. Because education is really remembering. Once you can remember well, they say that you're educated. Of course, you have to learn in order for you to remember, right? All right. So there are words, let me tell you again, that spell the same way, but pronounced differently. That is not a piece of madness. Why? Well, give me one then, since they say no. Give me a word that.
Hold on. Word that.
Yeah, spelled the same way, but pronounced differently. Yeah. Yeah, pronounced differently. They spell the same way. You know what pronounce, right? Pronounce means to articulate, to put your tongue and your mouth and your lips in a particular way, and your voice box have to come into play in order to, of course, talk, to speak. And I'm saying that there are words that are spelled the same way, but pronounced differently. All right, let me get one quick because you have to go.
I know one thing about it.
How you spell bow?
B-O-W.
B-O-W.
I know what you're trying to give. I know what you're trying to do. My teacher already do it. It's a bow. It's a bow.
All right. And how you spell bow?
B-O-W.
That's right. So
all three is B-O-W.
that's right. So what? They spell the same, but what? Pronounced differently. Yes, that's right. Beautiful. Right. So out there, remember, there are words that spelled the same way, pronounced differently. Again, it depends on how you use it in a sentence, right? To convey some kind of information. That is important. All right, then let's go.
Well,
Let's go to the line and let me see if somebody wants to ask you a question. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Lennox, Lennox, good night, good night.
Hey, good night, good night, good night.
You're right.
Yeah, I try
Right,
to teach.
you're right. I want to ask Joshua a question. You're right. Joshua,
Yes.
you listen to me.
Go ahead, you listen.
Um,
Yeah.
when you, just advice. I can tell you what. If you sit down and listen attentively and observe and consume what the teacher saying or your father saying or anybody saying, and you analyze the question, but you do not try to change the narrative of the question to your ability to understand, because sometimes it can be different, right? So you have to study the question like somebody else, like a teacher tell you to do this, and I have the question why, because you are a student, you are learning. Your father is also was a former teacher. Apparently, he's teaching you, and we are listening to you. You know, so that's how I do it in school. And I go to 5 year college. I get 5 O levels. That time when I was in Trinidad, A plus B in a biology, geography. I didn't do really good in maths, but it was okay. But you know, you have to sit down and consume what somebody said and analyze it. If you don't know, you ask a question. Nothing wrong with that. Up to now, when I do my job, although I do this for many years, if I don't know something, I ask. Always play stupid that you don't understand, but you understand. But you always ask question. Question is to ask. When you ask, you learn. Understand, Joshua? You got it? All right.
Yes. Thank you
Okay,
very much, of
thanks.
course, for that intervention. All right. All right. So we finish here.
Yeah.
All right.
I think so.
All right. So of course there are words that what we learned. There are words that uh,
But before that, I would just like to say thank you.
oh, say thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, to the gentleman for his intervention. Yes, yes, yes. He's calling all the way from the United States. That voice I'm very familiar with.
You say you was from Canada, I think.
United States, no, the United States, no, not Canada. We have, I think, another person who calls from Canada. All right, come on, phone. All right, so, all right, we will continue with this tomorrow night when you are with me again. But I want to get to the situation in the Caribbean. Very very important. Recent developments that are
Yeah, I
taking place.
know the Venezuela thing.
Venezuela thing. All right.
Remember when I asked you? Remember when you asked me who would I be the first person you think would I worry?
Well,
And I say Venezuela.
the Warus. I know. I only had only little interaction in school and in class, so I didn't want to get involved with that.
But you say it?
All right, okay, all right, no problem. Anything you want to leave with the audience? Don't put up your hands. Yeah, go ahead. Anything you want to leave with the audience?
Uh, well,
All right, tomorrow night you will do some reading, right?
wait, oh yeah, but we had a toy drive and thing. I would like to say happy belated birthday to my god sister.
All right. Speak loudly now, and stay in the picture. Yes. Come. Yes. Go ahead, Joshua. Somebody's trying to prompt him behind the camera, and they should have practiced before they come on, right? That is the rule. So there be no waste time. All right. So Joshua, what you have to say?
Uh,
Well, you can always get it done tomorrow if you have a problem today. All right? All right. Don't forget, people, of course, I was passed a note where we have, of course, our Christmas toy drive has started. We have
No one.
communicated, of course, with several people, and our hampers, of course. Usually non-perishable items, that goes without saying. And of course, what again? I see clothing here. I see, yes, toys as well. Snacks,
Food.
water, drinks, etc.
Food.
Those carbonated drinks, etc. So we will of course make some more announcements. Tomorrow we'll have a whole list, and we'll have, of course, a promo on that entire Christmas event. All right. So look forward to that tomorrow, before the program starts, during the program, and after. Joshua, your closing remarks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, okay then. See you. Let me get down to work. Yes, people, of course, Joshua is leaving the classroom. He's leaving the set. All right. Joshua. All right. Beautiful.
This is not a classroom, this is a studio.
I hear you.
It's only classroom, it's a classroom.
All right. You see how these children are. Right, so I had to put on the classroom for it to be a classroom. Let me just make sure that you see it. All right, so there you have it. So we're in a classroom. All right, and then of course we have that's a virtual. We have the literal classroom. Again, a little challenge because the camera. We have to get another camera in order to make it more, should I say, visible and much more vivid. But we're getting some snags and some blurriness that doesn't make it acceptable for this program and what we want to do. So we are going to work on it, and as I said, from Monday we will start, of course, our classroom sessions. We'll have some young people here just for the 5-10 minutes, so we don't take away too much of their school time and their sleeping time, and see how best we could, of course, assist each other. So they'll come with specific things. I'm not going to have them ad-lib in any way like Joshua does. He has to come with pre-prepared work, all right? Because I have to pre-prepare what I have to say to you tonight, so I can't see why they cannot do the same thing if they want to be on the program on a nightly basis. All right, so that being as it may, let's get on to, of course, what I want to talk about. And of course, I said, as the music would have indicated, we're talking about Caribbean Man. Yes,
You try with a federation, the whole thing end in confusion. CARICOM and then CARIFTA, but somehow a spelling disaster. Mr. West Indian politician, I mean you went to a big institution, and how come you can't unite 7 million? When a West Indian unity, I know it's very easy. If you only rap to your people and tell them like me, them is one race, the Caribbean man, from the same place, the Caribbean man, that make the same trip, the Caribbean man, on the same ship, the Caribbean man. So we must push one common intention, is for a better life in the region, for we woman and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man. You say that the Federation was imported quite from England, and you're going on for a CARIFTA with a true West Indian flavor. But since CARIFTA started running, money noon and night all are hearing. It's just money speech, them Prime Minister giving. But I say no set of money could form a unity. So your people need their identity like one race, from the same place, that make the same trip, on the same ship. So we must push one common intention, it's for a better life in the region, for we women and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man. CARICOM is wasting time, the whole Caribbean gone blind. If we don't know from where we come in, then we can't plan where we go in. That's why some want to be communists, brother, some want to be socialists, and one set a religion to add to the foolishness. Look, a man who don't know his history can't form no unity. How could a man who don't know his roots form his own ideology like one race, from the same place, that make the same trip, on the same ship? So we must push one common intention, it's for a better life in the region, for we women and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man. The Federation done that.
Yes, indeed, of course. As I started the program by indicating, of course, a very serious matter indeed. And that is, of course, the lack of unity and the lack of understanding one to another, depending on their perspective. And what we see, of course, emerging is ideological differences that clearly does not conform with what is required at this time for, of course, the Caribbean peoples. And therefore, we have a duty and responsibility as responsible members of the Fourth Estate, so to speak, to, of course, identify and to express our deep concern about the developments that are taking place right in the nowadays can be safely called the troubled waters of the Caribbean Sea. Troubled waters of the Caribbean Sea. I am satisfied that the ultimate intention of the Americans is to make sure that they don't leave here, or they don't leave these parts without, of course, the, put another way, making sure that the Maduro administration is not in place. That much I am satisfied with. And of course, there are those who are of the view to find what I consider to be scapegoatism in the whole process. Scapegoatism. You see, as I've said before, a person who criticizes our Prime Minister, Kamala Prasad Bissessa, and it is happening all over social media, I say, of course, get the hens, Satans. And I preface what I want to say on the basis that, you see, they are definitely silent on what Maduro has been doing in Venezuela and to his people, and the many, of course, arrangements for, let's say, settling this matter, reconciling the situation between, of course, Venezuela and, well, I should say Maduro and his regime and the United States. And it is he, Maduro, and his cronies that have reneged. And of course, no Caribbean leader that worth its salt, whether past or present, or could ignore the human rights violations of a violent nature the democratic iniquities of the Venezuelan regime and not see it as a pariah state. Some prefer to say a narcotic state. Pariah. Pariah. And nothing could take away the fact that the Americans have sanctioned and put bounty on the heads of even the head of that pariah administration under the auspices, or should I say the management or the organizing of Maduro. Nobody. And unless leaders do not include that as part of their narrative, as part of their vocabulary, if you want to call it that, as part of the realities of Venezuela, and of course their actions and the movement of military assets off the coast of Venezuela, you're either spinning top in mud, you're playing stupid, and you have an ideological position that does not include the reality of Venezuela and the administration and the people and their plight at this time. Has to be. Because listen, I remember having a discussion with one of those Muslims that are fanatics. They are deeply committed to their faith. And in these discussions, they talk about Antifada and all and Intifada and all of that. These so-called radicals, and they will call somebody who doesn't believe in what they do and say infidels. All of that. But the fact of the matter is, I will continue thereafter. Our Pastor, good night. Welcome. We give way always to the callers. Pastor, good night.
A pleasant good night to all and sundry, east, west, north and south, and upper Caribbean, lower Caribbean, and down to Guyana. Welcome to the #1 talk show on social media, led by the most honorable right, Mr. Lennox Smith, on the corridor transformation.
All the accolades, boy. All right, I hear you.
Yeah.
I could take it because I'm easily flattered. But so go ahead.
Yeah, so, and if you want to see pornography and the PNM, what they make up are, they go to Corridor Transformation on Facebook. But if you want constructive upliftment and to know what the PNM is about, go to Love, Love Until on Facebook. And
very good, very good.
if you have $1 extra in your pocket, you could pass and donate it for Uncle Lennox to keep the light on in the studio. So Uncle Lennox, I like the topic you're on tonight, and to all your listeners who are listening. And I know we have 1 or 2 listeners of the Caribbean that's tuning to you. Now, you talking about the Caribbean outside of Trinidad and Tobago, and you're talking about Venezuela. But they say charity begins at home. Uncle Lennox, I feel you fall short by not saying. Listeners, listen to this. You know, Keith Rowley, after Patrick Manning led the PNM and thief out the treasury, and more the oil price went up, as more he find cost overrun and thief out the money. I can say that tonight without any fear, prejudice, or fear any of the PNM judge or judiciary. Right? It could be proven now. So you have to say, under Keith Christopher Rowley, he used the African diaspora once more again after the abolition of slavery and independence under Eric Williams to enslave them in modern times. And he told them that their life will be better off under a black prime minister. And he told them an illusion, not a dream, an illusion, a mirage. And while the money was coming in, he used all ways and means to get the money out of the treasury in the name of the citizens and the people who vote for him. And today, after he gave up office and flew out of the office because, you know, bad boys, when they come for you, what you're going to do? So he run out and he leave the citizen wanted. And he used COVID-19 and 20 to say that all your life, I can't give all of this and give all of that. And if all their money, all they have to go home, all they lost all their work. But in comparison with that now, then tell them, look at Maduro and Hugo Chavez. Hugo Chavez started it the same way like how Rowley started it. And he tell the poor people that he will better their life, give them everything, because the oil revenue was so high, right? And he wanted to take it out of the treasury on the name of the account of the poor people of Venezuela. Now Maduro was anointed and given the presidentship, not by the people say. And it's the same thing Rowley do with Stuart Young. He give him and anoint him, not by the people. And look what Maduro do in Venezuela. He said fair and clean election he will call. Check what the EBC do in Trinidad. EBC for San Fernando East in the special voting. And your seat, Love Lavantil, was represented. And Philip Edward Alexander's seat. Up to now, the EBC didn't give the proper report and finding is Rowley declared the election again. That is sounding familiar like Maduro. And then the EBC say, yes, this is the government, and they get a cocktail by a landslide victory and they're in denial. So if you say like that now, because the ex-prime minister, the retirees and them know that their dogs, they'll benefit under Hugo Chavez and Petro Caribbean. So they take the state money where they represent of the Caribbean and they buy fuel from Venezuela. And what they do, the corruption, where they trade. Today the Caribbean is supposed to be traded with that same Venezuela. If they ask them how much goods are the Caribbean from under Puerto Rico come straight down from Cuba, straight down to Guyana. How much? But let me leave out Guyana. Because anyway, that East Indian, the rest of the Caribbean don't like them. So I'm telling you plain as it is. Ask all of them of the Caribbean. How much of them traded with Venezuela under Petro Caribbean? So if they feel that people on the islands throughout don't know the stinkness they was doing, and in poverty, put poverty among the same people of the Caribbean, because it's tourism, and where the GDP come from. So you see, these ex-prime ministers that are from the Caribbean, and I think it's one in Trinidad, want to say they want peace in the Caribbean, or they want prosperity. I feel like I get mixed up with the word. And Uncle Lennox, when you bring up a topic like that, I could go on and on like the Energizer body and outlast him. Because in Trinidad right now, you see all of the naysayers and them, they're balling because we launched the plan to develop Trinidad. And I want to ask India, where the foreign reserve he had when they asked him that is over 11 months, he still having an adenine when you self with the talk and they say it is the stabilization and heritage fund money. He put it as a board cover, and the adenine. This all 6 days where all our money gone. So let me find out, right? So the peace in the Caribbean and the Caribbean people trade and the Caribbean ex-prime ministers and them how to put people in poverty, and yet still they're not talking about Maduro, how he thief the election and suffer the people. And I want to ask you this question, Uncle Lennox. How much Venezuelans did have up the Caribbean? Why Gonzalo and them have Spanish up there? And in any country have illegal immigrants. It is a drain on your economy and your spending. And just imagine, I see activists going and saying that people being exploited to beg and ask, and they're illegal in this country. I feel as though start jailing them activists for knowing that they have illegal people in this country and harboring them. Have a good night.
Same to you, my friend. Same to you, my friend. Very, very expansive indeed, but of course, to the point. And of course, focusing on this situation that we have found ourselves in the Caribbean, and of course, questioning the leadership, past and present, ideologically and otherwise, because some of the narrative and some of the logic does not make any sense. But go ahead, caller. That's a good night.
Good night to you, Mr. Smith.
Good night to you as well, my friend.
All right, I'm only called too late because I see Joshua, right?
Yes.
But good night to Mr. Joshua also, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Smith, now I want to just talk to you a little bit about this zone of peace, because I hear Mr. Roger and all talk about this zone of peace, right?
Yes.
And so far, everybody in the Caribbean talking about this zone of peace, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I want to put something simple.
Caller, hold on. I have someone on the system.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If I and my brother living in the same yard in two different houses, right? And both of us have wife and third. And my wife giving me real trouble, and my brother wife living a good life with him. And somebody come and they ask, how all you going here, boy? And my brother here and I here. And I say, how all you going here, boy? But I get a real problem with my wife, eh?
Yeah.
And my brother said, we going real good here, man. We have no problem here and thing, right? So I wouldn't be able to say to the person, well, my brother might be going good, but I ain't going good here because I and my wife having a real problem here.
Right.
So I don't know, well, if he want to say, well, we going good here, but I could tell you we ain't really going, because I ain't going good here. If I was going good here and he was going good here, then I could tell you, the person, yes, we're going good here.
Right.
Am I wrong for saying something like that?
No, of course not.
Right? So then, here we go. We in Trinidad experiencing a lot of difficulty in keeping crime down. Murder, she wrote every day, house invasion, human trafficking, killing on the streets, killing in motor car, killing you in bar, all kind of things we going through. But yet in the Caribbean, here is a zone of peace. So I want to know, if we as Trinidadians to get peace, we should leave Trinidad and go out in the Gulf of Paria. Because in the Gulf of Paria, there are no war going on there, there are no killing. So all of us should go on a cruise boat, some cruise ship, and live in the Gulf of Paria to cover what we're going through on land. Right? Because peace has to be where you live in. Right? Peace is not just a thing where in the Caribbean all of us put together and we could say we're in a zone of peace. When me having no peace at all, I can't even sleep good in my house. So how I could be saying, like how Barbados might be saying, or St. Vincent might be saying, we have a zone of peace. They have to distinguish which part the zone of peace lie. You think so, Mr. Smith?
Yeah. I follow you very implicitly, my friend. Yeah, I share your view because, of course, it is clearly a position that is so awkward, is so unrealistic that it is unfathomable that these so-called heads, whether past or present, can be so myopic in terms of their understanding of this zone of peace scenario. But as I said last time, and I'm saying it now again, it is more ideological than anything else. And I'll complete, of course, my comparison with that argument I had with that Muslim fanatic who, of course, said that he would like to have everybody converted to Islam. But of course, a specific thing I would conclude on when you are finished. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, if a man should say something like that, then he are like God. Because I will tell you why. God didn't make everything to be one way, Because he could have made all the colors blue. And he could have made we eat only dashing. And he could have only make one plane to carry everybody. And he could have made one tree with just one fruit where everybody should eat from that fruit. But God knows in his way, he wants to beautify this world. And he wants everybody to think in a certain way. But at the end of the way, we might take different roads all over, but the road lead to him. You understand? So
Yes.
to say, well, as you say, everybody should go to Islam. Well, then God didn't want it that way because he would have make it that way.
Yes.
Right? He'd have make it where everybody with one mind and how I think, you and I have to think the same way I think. So we will not have no problem because I don't know how you thinking because how you are the only thing how I thinking. So people have to get it in their head. Nothing cannot be that way because God didn't make it that way. He make it for everybody to enjoy life in a different way, but everybody pointing back to him in one way or the other. All right, this world would not be an enjoyable world, This world could not be a world, and even God make the world for everybody to even love himself. He make it in a way if you want to hate him, hate him. And if you want to love him, because he make you like a puppet, He make it with your mind. He know you could do certain things on your own. And he give you a directive. You understand? So we have to live with that. So don't get up with that fella who said that everybody convert. Nobody can convert to one day. God gave us to enjoy this life, how he put it, and we have to enjoy it that way, Mr. Smith. I don't want to take too much of your time, Mr. Smith.
All right, my friend.
Thanks.
Thanks very much, of course, for that intervention. Of course, what I've gained from what you said, of course, variety is the spice of life. But both in terms of nature, the flora and the fauna, the plants and the animals, as well as, of course, of the physical beauty when we look at what some of the physical things, whether it be the North Pole, whether it be South Pole, whether it be around the equator, and of course, and so many other landmass that exhibit so much beauty, including, of course, forest, as well as, of course, in the sea as well, marine life, and of course, the beauty that exists there. But I want to conclude, of course, my analogy with respect to this Muslim guy. So it came about when, of course, we reached the point about radicalism and the fact that, of course, some of the clerics are asking people to strap on a vest, a bomb vest, or a vest of bomb, and of course go into crowds and ignite the bomb and therefore, of course, kill themselves and everybody else for whatever it is, whether people have done an injustice to them, as the case may be. And then, of course, And I asked the question, well, why would someone do that? They say, well, of course, the imam will say, when you get on the other side, it's a good thing to do. When you get on the other side, you have 7 virgins. And of course, that to me, from what I gleaned from that, is one of the singular motivations. Well, all right, if that is the motivation, well, I tell the guy, well, listen, I don't mind converting to Islam, and if radicalism come in my path, then the first thing I will have to do, since of course I'll have to, one of the motivation is that I will meet 7 virgins on the other side, then all I will do is ask the imam that he strap on those vests and the bombs, and he do it first. He do it first. Don't frighten. I come in, but you do it first, Miss Imam. You do it first. You go first. You go first. You know, he gets stunned one time. I suppose he was thinking something different. I don't talk. I pause in there. Think about it. Think about it. Right? If he's saying that the 7 virgin is the motivation, how come he don't want to go and get 7 virgins? So he's sending me. Then, of course, you go first. And I am radical. I will go. But I will only go after you go. Think what you want now in terms of the outcome of that discussion. But that being as it may, of course, let's get to the... Oh, sorry about that, caller. Oh, go ahead, caller. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I got kind of way.
Well, I enjoy the talk too.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's discuss the Venezuela and CARICOM issue.
Yeah.
Now we have our CARICOM neighbors begging for a zone of peace.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
They are begging for a zone of peace. And to me, that's very hypocritical. Right? Given what is taking place in our region with Maduro. Now, when Biden was there, right?
Yeah.
Biden leaded out to Venezuela, they must have free and fair election. And he kind of eased off on the license, right?
Yeah, he breached all of the agreement to avoid, of course, any kind of confrontation with the Americans.
Right. So here this one. Now, when the election was held, the opposition won 70% of the votes.
Yeah.
And when that was revealed, the opposition leader had to hightail out of Venezuela because Maduro was coming to...
Yeah, his goons and them. His goons and his minions.
So I saw a video, and I certainly is not AI, where a chopper running over citizens in the streets of Caracas. So you want to tell me that if I saw that video and what took place there with the elections, the rest of CARICOM wasn't aware of what was taking place?
And that, my friend, go to the top of the class. That is my difficulty with those persons who believe that they could talk about a zone of peace in a vacuum. As if we are that vacuous and that we are that obtuse and we are that dunderheaded and inane. That is my difficulty with these fellas. So go ahead. Sorry about that intervention, but sometimes I get emotional.
It's very hypocritical.
Yeah.
It's very hypocritical because look what happened recently. And very recently, right?
Yeah.
Venezuela had Guyana had a bombing in a gas station where a little child died. And two or three others injured. 7 people were charged for terrorism. That cannot be a zone of peace. Then we had the Essecobo issue where Maduro was ranting and reeling up. And he had a special convention to to invade Essequibo because he say Essequibo belongs to Venezuela. A zone of peace, Dr. Lennox.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a song of zone of peace. No. I want to saying this to make a reference to CARICOM.
Uh-huh.
Now, do you know that the Miss Universe pageant had it was held in Thailand recently, right?
Yeah.
The Miss Universe pageant was held in Thailand recently. And one of the promoters berated one of the contestants from Mexico.
Uh-huh.
And every single contestant all over the world walked out. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They stood up for what was right. So I come back now to CARICOM.
Yeah.
If everybody had stood up for what Maduro did, did during that election period there, and the opposition who won the election had to move out because if he was fearful for his life, he had to move out. If everybody stood up and let Maduro know the time only
not a voice. These people who calling for a zone of peace, not one of them. Not one of them. And watch me.
Well, yes.
Watch me. Because Guyana is what it is and is a soft target, if you want to call it that, we had some of them, these CARICOM leaders, when Granger tried to thief the election in Guyana, they were vociferous. But we also had an independent court, which is the Caribbean Court of Justice, to which Guyana subscribed, and it had to go all there in order for Granger and they to concede that they would have lost, that they lost the election, and that the present administration of Aifil Ali and his party would have won the elections as they did recently again. But I'm just showing you. But Venezuela somehow is some special case where they will throw a blind eye to all of these iniquities, because in Guyana you didn't have violence and you didn't have the repression of protests and all of that, as you see blatantly in Venezuela. And what is much more unpardonable and very vivid is the fact that over 8 million people of a 27 million population migrated out of that country. That in itself is the fomenting of instability, and instability, follows that with, of course, a place of extreme violence and social interaction that is confrontational. Zone of peace, what? Go ahead, my friend.
And the other islands don't have the problem. We have well, my understanding is about 200,000 of them here. So they don't have that content with 200,000 Venezuelans here.
Yeah. Somebody trying to call in, boy, but so you gotta give way. All right. Yes, thanks. Yes. All right. Yeah. Caller, call back. Sorry about that. I hope I get you on the usual system rather than, of course, on the phone. All right. Let me see if I get in on the system. All right. I'll have to take you here. All right. Let's go there. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hello. Yeah, good night.
Good night, my friend.
Calling from San Fernando.
Yeah, go ahead, San Fernando. Yes.
The topic was interesting tonight.
Yeah.
And I want to make this one point. I've always, from ever since I've always remembered, Venezuela is the one that started this thing when the oil was flowing. Right?
Yeah.
As I say, it's very good to help people and whatnot. But most of that money went in buying weapons. or some of it, if not all.
Yeah.
And I remember during those years, Venezuela, I think it was under Chavez, had asked back the UK for the gold.
Mm-hmm.
And the UK suspected that Venezuela was purchasing weapons.
Yes.
So this is why they refused to give them the gold. Right?
Yes.
Alright? And what I cannot understand is why did our Caribbean leaders not understanding this? Because if a
listen, my friend, it's not that they understand, they understand it, but showing a blind eye and refuse to accept the reality, and they don't mind endangering not just the CARICOM, but the entire hemisphere with the instability potential that Venezuela poses to the entire South America, and indeed, of course, the Caribbean islands, least of which, of course, Trinidad and Tobago. But go ahead, my friend.
No, I heard one caller, I think it was on the ground report, saying that, said the other day, the other morning, about 2 mornings ago, that Venezuela does not have weapons of mass destruction. Well, okay, if it's not weapons of mass destruction, it's weapons they have. And all of these weapons could blow a big hole anywhere. So, you could say that, but the point is that these CARICOM leaders, according to you, turning a blind eye on this thing. So this is my point here tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. Yes, indeed. Well, I have a map on the screen, as you would see, because a lot of people called me after I showed it on the ground report, but it was not as detailed as I would have liked because of time constraint. But certainly we have no such constraint tonight. So I want to make it very, very clear. In the discussion, particularly among Caribbean folks and the trolls and the bloggers and so on, who are influenced by this nonsense about a zone of peace as an ideological position as opposed to a pragmatic scenario where, of course, the callers so far have realized that none of them, as I have, none of those leaders have yet to condemn Maduro for human rights violation, for the atrocious conduct of his government and the repression and suppression of the democratic processes that at one time Venezuela had embraced. At one time Venezuela had embraced. And more than that, even in the present circumstance and the present configuration, where of course clearly dictatorial and what I consider to be oligarchic presence seems to be the order of the day. They did make arrangements with the United States and other democracies of influence, usually of course the G20 and the G7s and so on, the richest countries in the world, to conduct free and fair elections. And that is on top of the fact that Maduro himself is a fugitive of the American justice system and a number of his cronies. Now, does that mean that they are going to coalesce and therefore try to hold on to power as much as possible? Obviously. No one is denying that. No one is saying, unless those leaders and they who are saying a zone of peace talk also is in denial as far as that is concerned. Because he and his cronies are fugitive from justice, American justice, as well. But yet still they fail to see that. And that is why we have to say it is that position of a zone of peace is nestled in an ideological position that make them myopic and blind Two, of course, none of them, because none of them are recognizing or identifying or projecting or arguing or presenting any kind of position as far as the reality of Maduro being accused, he and his cronies being accused of a narcotic enterprise, or the fact that they have bounties on their heads, and the fact that they have been atrociously repressing and oppressing their population because they want to stay in power, and the fact that none of them have told Maduro publicly at least, but listen, do what the people say now. Do what all they agree to now. Have a free and fair elections. None of them have said that. But they come up with a concept of a zone of peace. Just so. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Doctor, good night.
Good night to you, my friend.
Yeah, good night, Trinidad and Tobago. Good night, worldwide.
Yes, man.
They say the West Indies is a zone of peace, right? Well, let the Prime Minister of Barbados, since all of them is a zone of peace, let her put on a cool chain and walk down in Port of Spain. You understand? And she will see where is a zone of peace. Right? Anyhow, doctor, stay up, my brother.
Thank you very much, because while for some that may seem as a mute or osseous argument, it is relevant, because when you listen to Kamala Prasad Bissessa, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago's argument, that listen, if the Americans have decided to get rid of the drug lords, the drug cartels, and the proliferation and the monolithic production of cocaine and other narcotics that reaches the shores, not just of Trinidad, but the other islands of the Caribbean, as well as guns and ammunition. And I say so once again, because it is foolhardy. It is dishonest, Rowley and others, to dismiss Kamala Prasad Bissessa's position on this matter, because not only did all of you assembled in Trinidad to deal with, of course, crime and criminality fueled by drugs and, of course, people smuggling and other contrabands, but more importantly, guns and ammunition. All it was here. And all you can tell me that all you don't know that the majority of that was coming from, if not all, from South America, from Venezuela, from Colombia. All you can't tell me, all you don't know that. You all were where the air is rare, the creme de la creme. You all were prime ministers and so on, Rowley and all of the others that claiming that somehow Trinidad, the Caribbean must be a zone of peace. But you all were here assembled. In fact, all you make so much excuses and all you start to say that crime must be seen as a what? As a public health issue. So much so that people like me were caricaturing, were lampooning, were making a mockery of that notion that crime and criminality is a public health issue. So we start to say that when a fella point a gun loaded with bullets and start to fire, all you have to do is to look for the nearest drugstore and take some kind of pill, and everything will be settled, and you can't die from, of course, the the mess that several bullets will, of course, cause your fragile and human body. Yeah. And it stemmed from the very drugs that were coming in and the guns that and ammunition that was associated with it. Up the islands. They were here in Trinidad. Sponsored by, of course, the Trinidad and Tobago government then under Rowley. And today he doesn't know. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Hey, good night, Lennox. In a call back again.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Lennox, let me tell you something. What I'm going to say, I'm not have no water for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see all of them with Venezuela. All of them, listen, Maduro in bed with Hamas, with Korea, Iran, and with Russia, and all these dictators of China. Don't feel it that he have connection with the Middle East, with all these extremists. Okay? So, all you know what you're dealing with, and Trinidadians so stupid to go and admire that man. When Raleigh was Prime Minister, they ain't saying a word. And he's out there not saying a word what he was doing. Right? And they were trying to, only thing that to keep Trinidad in fact is United States. Not because I live here. I see what's going on. I'm not a lover of Trump, but what Trump is doing the right thing. Right? So, all these drugs in Trinidad, look at that place, how it's a mess. All guns and cocaine and marijuana and what it keeps coming out from. They're doing business. So they're using Trinidad as a business. All these Venezuelans coming in, bought out. What do you think Raleigh was doing? If Raleigh wasn't, what if Raleigh was win the election this time? All the cook.
Oh, yes, for sure.
That man would have bring all the Venezuelans to our power Trinidad. That's what they wanted to do. That's what Maduro wanted. He thinks that Trinidad belongs to him. And that is why, to do that now, you have to overpower with all the Venezuelans. But Trinidad is only 1.4 million. There is about 20-something million. Can you imagine that? What would have done? What would have done?
Yeah,
that man would have.
That level of complacency, that level of myopia and showing a blind eye or ignoring those realities suggested that very sinister minds were at work to nurture and to encourage that nonsense with the repercussions for all of the Caribbean countries, but more so those that are closest to South America and Venezuela in particular, which is us.
Yeah, right, you're right, Mr. Lennox.
Yeah.
Right? Because let me tell you something, all these guns are coming, all the border of why he goes on, why did he, his own question to be asked, why did he stop the Coast Guard from, what he do with the helicopter? What he do with all of that? That man is a moron. He was siding with Venezuela. Some deal he make. Let me tell you something. Some deal that man make, as Jordan talking up in his red.
Oh yeah. We will find out in the fullness of time. As it said, what's sweet in the goat mouth is sour in the bam bam. Yeah.
You want to come to the United States. You hire your family over there, and you talking we bad? I would love Trump to sanction his backs and take away his visa. All of them.
But you know, as you're talking there, okay. But as the caller was speaking there, before I go to another aspect that we have not explored, you see, we're gonna get into the belly of this particular issue, because clearly it's hypocrisy, it is deception, it is dishonesty, and there's people with agenda. I want to. Oh, you're going to continue. I thought you had finished. Go ahead.
You go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. What you say?
All right. Yes. All right. So cut you off. Go ahead. You finished?
No. I didn't finish.
Yeah. I was saying. I was making the point. I was making the point that it may be a conspiracy to have or tolerate or to accept these things for personal, what I consider to be issues that has nothing to do with the general good and the general development of the countries that these leaders were elected to develop and to take care of. Because the other issue that we have not yet exploited to totality is the amorphous idea of non-interference in the affairs of other countries. They use that as well. So apart from a zone of peace concept, they also add to that the whole question of non-interference, because that is undiplomatic, and that is of course unacceptable, because countries should settle their matters domestically, internally. But here it is. This is an anomaly. This is a contradiction to what the reality is once again. And that is, if Venezuelans' conduct is such that it can remain in Venezuela, that the people migrate out and getting and having and causing hardship in places like Trinidad and wherever they go, including, of course, Latin America, other Latin American countries, whether it be Colombia, whether it be Peru, whether it be Brazil, whether it be even Guyana, whether it be Uruguay and Paraguay and Argentina and Chile, then what interference or non-interference in internal affairs of countries could be argued here? It cannot be, because you could say the reverse, that Venezuela is interfering in the internal affairs of Trinidad and Tobago by all these people, over 100,000 of them, I understand, migrating to our country to share in our limited resources, to, of course, generate what I consider to be a tragic reculturalization and a hybrid and a kind of enculturalization that we have not been accustomed to, forcing us to learn and speak Spanish, for example, interbreeding and utilizing, of course, all the what we consider to be free or public institutions in order to satisfy, of course, the needs of the people, including crime and criminality. They bring all that. And that is not interfering in Trinidad and Tobago's internal affairs by the Venezuelans. It may not be direct from the government, but certainly their conduct, indirectly having their people to leave, has caused us to have no choice but to interfere with their internal matters. And these leaders are too damn myopic to understand that, because they have an agenda, as you rightly said, my friend, that is yet to be manifested or yet to be revealed, but will be revealed in due course. Because it cannot be that they love their country. It cannot be that they love the Caribbean. It cannot be that they love CARICOM. It cannot be that they are hopeful that CARICOM will, of course, remain a unit so that we can get the full benefits of being together rather than divided, and yet still conducting themselves that way, throwing a blind eye to all of what Venezuela has been doing and is doing. Go ahead, my friend.
Lennox, let's imagine let me throw this out for you.
Go ahead.
If for 200,000, let's say 200,000
Yeah.
Venezuela, right?
Yeah.
Make 5 children, 4 children each. And 20 years from now,
They take over.
you would not have me.
They take over. Yeah. That is the calculation. The demography could be different. The racial composition could be different. The two main races in the country, African and Indians, may well be overtaken by, of course, a different species. Because remember, Trinidad has a substantial amount of Douglas. You may have, of course, a substantial amount. I know what they go call them now, Spani Douglas. I don't know. You know what I mean? And Spani Indian. You never could tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never could tell.
Yeah. And that was as a result, that originated, the genesis of that is as a result of the conduct of the administration there that causes people to move out, when in fact Venezuela is supposed to be one of the richest countries in the world because of the resources that they possess. The largest reserve of oil anywhere on earth.
Right. Yeah, because of the corruption. You know what? This is deeper than you think, you know. And they're hiding because all of them with them because they have something going on. Rolly has something going on. Let's imagine. He interrupts, try to intercept Guyana election. Right? He tried to intercept that election with Maduro. All of them wasn't it. When CARICOM come here and they say you want CARICOM of Global, right? They wasn't not for the opposition. They was for Rolly.
Yeah. And they had ample, they gave them ample opportunity to redeem themselves. I talk about the Maduro administration and its cronies. Ample. All right.
All right, Mr. Lennox.
Yeah, thank you very much, of course, for that. Yeah, for that running conversation. All right, people. So there we are. I would have introduced, of course, the whole question of non-interference, but we have covered that because the caller delightfully and graciously, of course, stayed on so that we can have a conversation in a kind of reciprocity that was just terminated. But let's get to the whole question of the Gravely. And I want to say categorically, you had to be a fool or you don't know your geography or something. Like, and I want to put people like Stuart Young and they in that category as well. Because when they were making noise last Friday about the presence of the Gravely, I want to say that the Gravely, let me put this arrow for you so you will understand. Right. So you have this arrow. Here is Caracas. So Caracas is here. Caracas is around there. Right? Let me just make it much more conspicuous. So Caracas is around here. That's the capital of Venezuela. Right? The American flotilla or its warships would have been somewhere out here off the coast of Venezuela. Off the coast of Venezuela. I hope you are seeing it. Yes, seeing it coming up. Yes. So the Americans are out there. That's the. Let me just see if I could write it in. U.S. S.A. Not perfect, but I mean it will serve the purpose. So the USA is out there. The Gravely had to move from there to come to Port of Spain. I'll give you the distance in a while. I just want you to imagine what distance we are talking about here. The Gravely had to come to port, leave that flotilla out here, and come to Port of Spain. So from here comes to Port of Spain. So it comes to Port of Spain, it docks in Port of Spain. Yes, it docks in Port of Spain. Spend what, 4 days, 5 days as the case may be. And then of course it went back, return trip, to of course rejoin the flotilla that is out there, the warships that are out there. So bam, and back out to rejoin the war assets, or the naval assets, or the army assets, if you want to call it, of the United States. So it has gone back. Let me just take it off. Let me just rub off that again. So I think we have made it very clear as to what. Now we are left with, of course, the distance. Well, let me tell you this. The distance from Port of Spain to Caracas is over 600 miles. 600 miles. Yeah, from Port of Spain to Caracas, or where those American warships were assembled. Marine, talking about submarines and other assets offshore of Venezuela. The distance is over 600 miles. I want to tell you as well that the distance from where they are offshore, all this asset that was assembled, to Caracas is just about 200 miles. 200 miles. When you look at the map, and you look at the geography, and you look at the waters, you would see first and foremost, it's only a madman or a madwoman would conclude, like Penelope Beckles, because she's a woman, and of course people like George Young, and of course Amy Brown, will try to tell us that the Americans going to wage a war from Port of Spain into Venezuela. Caracas being quite here. Only Penelope Beckles 600 miles away, when they have everything that they want or could have, plus 2 vessels that carry aircrafts, bombers and so on, helicopters, whistling its way across the Atlantic right now to come and meet them. So they have, in a sense, land in the sea, close to Caracas. You fighting a war, you can fight a war, or you want to start a war, you won't start the war without having your eyes on the capital. So that is why the Americans are offshore and they are around here. They are around here. That's where they are. Offshore, off the coast. But in sight of Caracas, Not here, not here in Trinidad, not here in Trinidad, not here, not here, not here, not here, not here in Trinidad. And at any rate, it was one warship that came. And they had 10, 12, over a dozen of them right off the coast of Venezuela near Caracas, the capital. Easy access. Easy access. Easy access. Or should I say, more strategically located to launch an attack on Venezuela, at the capital, the seat of power, the main administrative center. When that fall, everything done. When the capital fall, everything done. How Trinidad come in that? Penny? How Trinidad and Tobago come in that? Or they create a whole set of hysteria last Friday. Or the Monday before, as the case may be. How Trinidad and Tobago come in that? 600 miles away, they have their flotilla and their armada, if you want to call it that, of war assets, marine assets, right offshore of the coast of Venezuela. Look, 600 miles away from Trinidad. Yes, they would want, of course, to give the illusion that because Trinidad and Tobago is just about 7 miles from crossing the Gulf of Paria, that somehow war will start and people start to get into a frenzy and hysteria. Look how far. Let me repeat it again. Let me repeat it again. Let's take off these. Let's take off these. Let's take off these. Let me repeat it again. Trinidad is here, and you have to come all the way here, or put it. Let me make sure that in the waters closer to the capital, where all the action will be. The water out here. The Americans in the water out here. Yeah, closer to where the action will be. Because the capital of Venezuela is right here. It's right here. What they're journeying all that distance to Trinidad, over 6 miles, to start a war from Port of Spain. You had to be a backside. You had to be a fool. 600 miles to Caracas, or close, or where the Armada, where the Americans were lurking just off coast of Venezuela, because that's where you have to be if you're serious. And the war on drugs, of course, made it a greater imperative. How they go come elsewhere when, of course, Caracas is the target, or at least close to Caracas, where, of course, you can have your eyes there and then see, of course, things all over the place, because, I mean, you have the technology to do it. Have the technology to do it. So what nonsense Penny and them talking? What arseness Stuart Young and Brown talking? They don't understand that we are intelligent people, and we will find ways and means to make certain that their narrative that their propaganda is not just neutralized, but is dismissed and debunked for all times, because nobody see it this tonight. And of course, the markings or the drawings and the representation of distance. You must therefore conclude that these people were trying to gaslight, trying to hoodwink, trying to deceive, and blatant lies, knowing better, and yet still trying to tell you, do not believe Kamala Prasad Bisesa, and of course the officials that said, keep calm. The Americans were there with the Gravely to do an exercise with our own army here. It's only Penny and them. Let me repeat, it's only Penny and them has escalated it, of course, to the point of hysteria. Let's go again. So, the Americans would have had to, so the Gravely would have had to leave here as they did, Port of Spain, docks, and then go back to join its counterparts. Why? Because there is where they have to be. As I said earlier, I have no doubt in my mind, I will not ignore that fact that they come here to make certain that the government in Caracas is no more. And I want to say finally, let's go to the lines. I have a final point that I want to make, but let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Sir, Lennox, I'll call him back. Lennox, I'm going to say something very quick.
Go ahead, man.
Listen, you had mentioned that that the Gravely was dug in Trinidad.
Yeah.
And they are saying how they go probably do something from over there.
Yeah, start
right?
a war from Trinidad, yeah.
Right, start a war. That they would not do. Right? Now, not to say on that ship, because that one is sophisticated thing, that could go to 2,000 miles easy and hit the target.
Yeah.
Right? Guided missile, they call it. And that does do a lot of damage.
So you don't need to do it from Trinidad, one, and two, and
no,
two.
they don't want to make that a big deal.
That's right.
No?
You do it from international waters or within Venezuelan waters, because
No, they wouldn't do that.
you want to show them who is boss. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they could. They could. They could take you out right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they wouldn't do that. That would not, that is not, you know, right, because there is Trinidad waters. It'd be international water.
Yeah.
Then, so that's why they did not do that. They would not use Trinidad.
And logistically, it is easier to do it there because you have enough assets. You have a whole island floating, a floating island with boats, with planes, with everything you want,
Yeah.
man equipment and all kinds of amphibious equipment. You don't need to come Trinidad to do what? To go over land? to get to Maracas?
But now, let me tell
To
you
get to
something.
Caracas, sorry, to get to Caracas. Yeah. Go ahead.
Let me tell you something. Listen, if they wanted to do something now, they wipe out there in a minute. I'm telling you that.
Yeah.
There's no maybe about it. If they want to do something, they wipe it out in a minute. In a minute.
Yeah.
Because those things carry those kind of bomb. Don't play with it. They'll wipe them out. See what they can do. They've
Yeah.
bombed a whole area like you never existed. I tell you that. I see them in action already.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, Dr.
No,
Lennox,
yeah, all of us who, all of us who are close to our 10 would have seen Iraq, would have seen, of course, Panama, would have seen Grenada, or heard or read.
Yeah.
So we know what is possible. So all the grandstanding.
Let me tell you something. They went to Iraq, went in all these kind of places. Venezuela is a joke.
That's right.
To them. So I don't see what I'm talking about. Venezuela is a joke to them to go when they go to Iraq and all these places. Afghanistan, all about. They're a joke in front of them.
Yeah.
And they wasn't there. All right, Lennox.
Yes, man. Yeah, they're coming, man. They're coming, man. Yes, indeed. So we try to be practical as possible. We try to let you know that it was impossible and that the statements made by Kamala Prasad Bisasa and the government was true. There was no fiction about it. And never again must you listen to Penley, Beckles, and they who are political parasites of an opportunistic nature. Political parasites of an opportunistic nature. That's what they are. Fighting to survive in an environment that they created as hostile to them, because when they got the opportunity, as one leader in Tobago would have said, they blew it, they abused it, believing somehow, as I would have said on a regular basis, that somebody bequeathed Trinidad and Tobago to them. And I often ask the question, if it's Eric William, I want to know who gave it to Eric William. They're so damn stupid to believe that. But no, it's all about hoodwinking and deception and creating all kind of illusions to make them in themselves believe that they are more than what they are, and for the population to be so deceived and brainwashed that they see them as something that is superlative, when in fact they are ordinary hustlers of the state coffers. You know what I say? They are ordinary hustlers off of the state coffers. That's what they really are. Rowley and his entire bunch. Why else they will eviscerate the procurement legislation, and why and how else over 500 recusals took place? What do you think that was all about? That was hustling from the state, which they had the responsibility via a questionable elections 2015 and 2020, questionable elections, but they get through, as the young people would say, and they abuse it to the hilt or beyond the hilt. So let us not waste time. Let us get it straight. That no way any war could have started from Trinidad. No way. Let's take a look at it again. Trinidad, quite here. And the Americans assembled around here off the coast of Venezuela, but with Caracas in sight. Caracas in sight. Yes, Caracas in sight. Caracas right around here. Why would they come to Trinidad to have Caracas in sight? And Caracas is right here. Only about 200 miles as opposed to over 600 miles. So no way. And if bombs start to fall there, we again, it's 600 miles we are away from all of that. 600 miles away from all of that. I don't think if they begin to drop bombs in Caracas, if we could hear it at all from where we are, even if you are in Caracas or you are residing around the dragon's mouth. So let's just get it clear. Right, people? I thought it was important, of course, to treat with that tonight. Wow, it is after 10. Sorry about that. I normally will get carried away with these kinds of emotional matters. So I want to tell you, of course, that we're going to be back on tomorrow. And we will, of course, be looking at these and other issues. Tomorrow is Sunday. Of course, we'll have a religious kind of tone to the whole exercise. But, of course, it's important that we do what we have to do in order to understand what is the reality, and that Penny and the PNM must be relegated and remain in the political wilderness, waiting their turn for the political dustbin that they rightfully deserve as an organization, a criminal enterprise. That is what the PNM is. You wanted to say that I say nothing different to Maduro and they? Well, you formulate your own opinion. I have laid the foundation. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. I'll see you, of course, tomorrow night, when, of course, we will continue. Joshua will be with me, I expect, and we will deal with what we have to deal with in order to treat with not just the issues, but to help our young folks as they prepare for back to school on Monday. I think tests will start next week in preparation for the Christmas vacation. Normally that happens in this country, at least. Let's get back, of course, to the Caribbean man, and let's tell Rowley and they, we know who you are. We know that you are unpatriotic, and we know that you're not committed to CARICOM at all. The only person seem to be committed is Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the UNC and the present coalition of interest government, simply because the statement that if Venezuela interferes with the Essequibo, Trinidad and Tobago will provide a staging point for military response. Because remember, tomorrow you will see where that part of Guyana or that part of Venezuela is east of us. We'll deal with that tomorrow, so you get a fair idea as to the geography and why Kamala Prasad Bisesa would have said what she said. A staging point for dealing with Caracas? No, off the cards, 600 miles. They could be just 200 off the coast. But as far as Guyana is concerned, you will see where Trinidad and Tobago is an ideal place to launch a reprisal, rejecting and ejecting of Venezuela if they try to, of course, take the Essequibo. We look at that tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless, of course, and feel sorry for them Caribbean leaders who cannot, of course, produce evidence like this to generate the narrative that they are generating, thus, of course, questioning their integrity, their loyalty, and their commitment to regional peace, security, and the peoples of the Caribbean.
You try with a federation, the whole thing end in confusion. CARICOM and then CARIFTA, but somehow a spelling disaster. Mr. West Indian politician, I mean you went to a big institution, and how come you can't unite 7 million? When a West Indian unity, I know it's very easy. If you only rap to your people and tell them like me, them is one race, the Caribbean man, from the same place, the Caribbean man, that make the same trip, the Caribbean man, on the same ship, the Caribbean man. So we must push one common intention, it's for a better life in the region, for we woman and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man. You say that the Federation was imported quite from England, and you're going and form a carifta with a true West Indian flavor. But since carifta started running, money